Happy birthday, everybody. Welcome to Cerealsly, where we take cereals seriously. Today on Cerealsly, we're in week 2 of a 3-episode Christmas celebration, and it's high time that we came in from the cold, bundled up in front of the fire, and enjoyed a comforting mug of hot cocoa. Or maybe a comforting bowl of hot cocoa cereal. But which one? Over the past few years, I have rounded up 3 different hot cocoa cereals for us to try. Today, we'll be pitting them against each other head-to-head for somewhat of a Christmas showdown. Now, what will the criteria for this showdown be? How will we find the best hot cocoa cereal? Well, hot cocoa, just by its name, should be at least 2 things: hot and cocoa. Now, I'm going to completely drop that first thing because I don't want to heat up any of these cereals. That seems gross. Maybe someday we'll try that with grape nuts or cream of wheat or something. This is not that episode. But if we drop the hot, all we have left is cocoa cereal, and cocoa or chocolate cereals are a dime a dozen. I think what we'll be after is a third X factor. We'll be attempting to find out if any of our 3 cereals are able to capture some unidentified hot cocoa-ness that sets it apart from regular chocolate cereal. What is the distinction? Is there one? Let's put our Christmas spirit on the line and do our best to find out. All right, let me introduce to you the 3 contenders. First, we've got a holdover from the past few years that I haven't been able to find in stores this year, which doesn't necessarily mean it's dead. It could just be waiting until the deep winter to be announced or released. But let me say it, that's not a good sign. Coming into the showdown with the possibility you've already been discontinued, not great. But we're not going to hold that against it, so let me show you what it is. It is this cereal, heavy one, Swiss Miss cereal. I actually have another one that's behind me. There it is, called Cocoa Puff or Swiss Miss Cocoa Puff cereal. That was, I think, its first iteration where it was branded as a Cocoa Puff flankers. I think that one and this one are the same. And you can tell by the double box here, I got this one at Sam's Club. Now, I wanted to start with this one because they're likely just Cocoa Puffs with marshmallows, right? I gotta admit, Cocoa Puffs are not one of my favorite chocolate cereals. They're probably one of my least favorite chocolate cereals. I've always thought they're very cocoa powdery, like genuinely eating a spoonful of Hershey's cocoa powder. And that's not yummy. Still, maybe it will be the marshmallows. Maybe the marshmallows will mellow out that powderiness a little bit. Even before we get to the others, let me just glance at this to show you how incredibly chocolatey the milk looks. I know that a lot of chocolate cereals exist out of there. I don't think it ever stuck out to me how chocolatey these are saying that they're going to make the milk. That is a deep brown that's happening in that milk. That would be so impressive if that's going to be the case. I don't think it will be, but it's there in the box, so we're going to test that in just a little bit. All right, our second cereal today is another entry from General Mills, and that is Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer cereal. This looks amazingly similar in some ways, with the major exception of everything being a different shape. Instead of this just being like spheres with circles for marshmallows like what would normally be found in hot cocoa, these are all different shapes. So you can see here on the side, the cereal pieces themselves are supposed to be reindeer shaped. That's interesting. And then for marshmallows, they've got Rudolph's nose, a Christmas tree, and then what's labeled as Hermes hat. Hermie, of course, is this little elf guy. Remember, he wants to be a dentist. To me, this shape that they're showing actually looks a lot more like Hermes' shirt thing than his hat, but that is obviously a minor quibble. Now, the ingredient list for these 2 cereals is remarkably similar. And I can't say for certain yet, but maybe that tiny differences are key to one or the other being more hot cocoa-like. So for instance, this Rudolph cereal has cocoa listed 3 spots lower on the list. That's probably not good. This cereal has cocoa listed like, again, 3 higher than this Rudolph one, but also has an additional final ingredient, baking soda. Will baking soda make this taste more like hot cocoa? I don't know. Finally, we have one more, and that is this Elf on a Shelf hot cocoa cereal. This one goes back to using round white marshmallows, but the ingredients show a very different tactic. First, this one does have cocoa, but it also includes semi-sweet chocolate. And it's not just corn as the base like these other ones are. This one has corn flour, wheat flour, and oat flour. I think there's a chance that being less corn forward might help the chocolate take center stage. Now, one negative is it's obviously using the same die-cut stars, just like Kellogg's uses in all their cereals. Like Little Mermaid had this, Hocus Pocus 2 had that. Hocus Pocus 2 ruled, so maybe this star shape will be another winner. There's not much star-related in hot chocolate, though, or Elf on a Shelf, but there wasn't with mermaids or witches either, so maybe I shouldn't hold that against them. Though remember, each of these rejects the common label of chocolate for the much more specific hot cocoa flavor. But what do you think? Will any of them live up to that specificity? Will any of these be something more than a holiday cash grab? Listen, in our culture, is the phrase holiday cash grab needlessly redundant? Dare we have some hope that there is some Christmas magic left in the world and that one of these 3 cereals could deliver that magic to good little boys and girls around the world this year? Friends, it's time to eat some cereal. All right, everybody, I have got my bowls, I have got my spoon, I have got my milk. It is time for us to eat some hot cocoa. I just got to predict, I think these will not be hot cocoa-ish. I think they just put that word on it because it's the holiday season. My guess is these are going to be chocolate with marshmallows in them. But I shouldn't be giving up. It's the holiday season. I am going to hope beyond hope that they have something that will prove themselves to be hot cocoa-ish. I'm going to start from the top, right where I started before with Swiss. How do you even open this thing? It's one giant box. I've had this before. I think it was the Icy cereal episode that we also had one from Sam's Club. So weird. Inside there are 2 bags, not 2 boxes, but just the loose bags. Hey, this is interesting though, because very few other cereals would I pull out a full bag like this. In some ways that's interesting. Boy, I hope you can tell, oh maybe it's better on this side. Look at all of those marshmallows. How do they do it? How do they keep the marshmallows scattered throughout? Maybe because they're of similar size to the cereal pieces that makes it easier. But wow, look at the marbling. All right, well, it's absolutely just Cocoa Puffs with marshmallows in it, at least by look. What am I going to do here? Put this back in the box thing? Well, I do not like that system. If there is a direct connection that our brains are going to have to one of these cereals, I know what Swiss Miss tastes like. So we will have to see if I can taste that, maybe like as if I was pouring a packet of Swiss Miss mix into my mouth. Let's see if that's what it tastes like. No, at least dry. This literally just tastes like I put Cocoa Puffs in my mouth and I happen to have a marshmallow too nearby. Even the marshmallow, just eating it like that, was very bland. Maybe all it needed was milk, because of course you wouldn't have just dry hot cocoa powder in your mouth. You would put it in milk and heat it up and mix it up. Maybe this is giving it a fairer try. Let's try it with milk. Swiss Miss hot cocoa cereal with milk on it. Boy, it is way better in milk. At least it gives it something to do, to rattle around in there. I can see the chocolate coming off in the milk, and I mean that in a good way. It's turning the milk into chocolate milk. Again, remember on the box, it says it's going to do an extremely large job of that, just basing it on the picture alone. But I want to try to get a lot of marshmallows. Maybe that will help it taste like hot cocoa somehow. All right, let's give this a try. If anything, this is reminding me of a pretty unfortunate thing about hot cocoa, which is that Swiss Miss and many other companies, you know this, have gone to the level where they now pack in these little marbits into their hot cocoa mix. So you're either scooping or from a packet you're pouring them in, and there's already marshmallow bits like they would be in a cereal inside of your cocoa. I think that's really sad. I think that's a convenience, sure, but I'm sure it makes it so that many, many families don't even consider getting out real marshmallows. I remember when I was a kid, I don't even know if there were mini marshmallows back when I was a kid. We just had those big ones. The Jet Puff marshmallow in your cup of hot cocoa made with milk. That's an incredible experience. This is not an incredible experience. I'm actually purposely giving it some time to see if it will turn the deep chocolate that it promises in the picture. It's not really. It's not doing a bad job, but it's nothing different than any other chocolate cereal. Let's go now to our second contender. Again, in order, let us do Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. I don't remember them doing a lot of eating or drinking in that stop-motion animated movie, but let's eat their cereal. All right, pour it in the bowl. This is from General Mills as well, so I don't expect there to be much variation, but I can tell you the chocolate pieces of cereal in this one look a lot lighter. They really look like bunny rabbits. On this box, I didn't mention this, 2 times on this box, it says marshmallow shapes and colors may vary. Almost like they were not confident that you would be able to tell that this thing is a Christmas tree. I can totally tell it's a Christmas tree. These are as good as any. Maybe they thought, we'll get sued if we call them Hermes hat and it doesn't look like a triangle. It just looks like a triangle, guys. You did it. Calm down. It's Christmas. I'm going to try to get a couple pieces of marshmallow and a couple pieces of cereal and try this out. Come on, hot cocoa flavor. Let's try this. Well, it is different. Remember, the ingredients between those two are little slight differences. It's quite different. You'd think that a reorder wouldn't make all that much difference, but it did. Boy, this one is much less chocolatey in my mouth, at least dry. That's not too bad. I think if I hadn't eaten them back to back, I wouldn't notice, but now that I did eat them back to back, it's a very lackluster chocolate. I didn't like that chocolate flavor, but this is a lackluster version of that. Let's try this with milk and see what it tastes like. They've nailed it with the shapes. I much prefer eating these little reindeer bunnies than I do eating just spheres that are Cocoa Puffs like. That's quite boring to me. That wasn't very fun. This gives me something to squish around, to crunch down on, to enjoy in my mouth with all the different textures in it. I don't know that there's a major improvement, though, in the world of does it actually taste better? Certainly doesn't taste more like hot cocoa, that's for sure. Let me give it one more try. I'm trying to think between these two what I would rather have as a kid. If my parent brought home Swiss Miss cereal or, well, no question. I would like to look at the box and look at the shapes and look at the colors of the Rudolph cereal. So maybe I'm comparing apples and oranges here because the Swiss Miss market isn't little kids who are like, we love Swiss Miss. They like hot cocoa, but they don't know the brand name. Where, for sure, look at how fun that reindeer is on the front. Finally, we're going to finish up with Kellogg's. Quite different cereal. Remember, this is the one that does list semi-sweet chocolate. I've had a couple of these Elf on a Shelf cereals in the past, and their marshmallows are so dang tiny. I know Elf on a Shelfs are tiny little people, so maybe it's big to them. It ain't big to me. So few marshmallows. Dang. You can see they're all kind of lumped in a spot right there. Look at this side of the bag. You can barely tell it is a marshmallow cereal. Well, I can tell you, though, these smell way more like hot cocoa than these other ones did. That's interesting. Let me try it dry. I did get a marshmallow to try dry, if that's going to be worth anything at all. Okay, I was totally right about the grains. The grains, because it's not just corn, pull back from this one. You can really taste the sugary, chocolatey-ness on the outside of these cereal pieces, but is it hot chocolate flavored? Maybe there's something a little bit closer. Let's put some milk on it. Let it come alive in the milk. I'm going to try to get some marshmallows. It's not very easy. Oh, got maybe 2 or 3 on there. 3 at least. That's good. Let's try it with milk. I do like this star shape. I don't know that it's doing it any favors in helping me think of hot chocolate, though. The stars don't make sense. The marshmallows are too tiny. It smells nicer. Dang it. I wanted a Christmas miracle to occur where there would be some sort of last-minute twist, and one of these would just be incredible, and they're not. None of them are all that great. Oh, gross. I'm just stirring this around a little bit to see how chocolatey the milk has become. It's reasonably chocolatey. I still think they went out of control on this here box, trying to convince us it was going to be that chocolatey. How about on this one? This one, yeah, it's less. This one is more pale than this first one. This one turned a little bit chocolate. This one has the least. This one's in the middle. This one is definitely the most chocolatey. Maybe I should try each of these just a spoonful of the milk. So let's taste the Swiss Miss one. Okay, that tastes like a very yummy chocolate cereal milk. Let's try the Rudolph one. Oh, well, that one had nearly the same amount of flavor, but the color is drastically different. Let's try this last one. That one had far less chocolate milk type of flavor. Let me just say, if you're Kellogg's, the makers of this cereal, and you're watching today, which you certainly are not, you gotta make these marshmallows bigger. That's crazy. You're hurting yourselves, you're making me sad, and it's Christmas time. You don't want to be doing that. So we don't have a winner in the sense of any of these being very good. Let me just tell you what my ratings are. I think, again, not great. 1, 2 point something. How about 2 for for this one. This one's slightly better, even though the milk didn't turn as chocolatey. I'm going to give this a 2.5, and then this one drops back down to 1.5. So I think if we added all those up, we may have just crested 5. We just got over the 5. If you eat them all, you can have a 5 out of 5 and above. I'm trying to be really, really generous at Christmas time. Well, friends, we have done it all. We talked, we ate, we discovered that maybe Christmas cereal does come from a store, but maybe Christmas cereal perhaps means a little bit more. And now it's enough. Remember, we gave these cereals, I don't even know. Not good, not good, not good. If you want to try today's cereals for yourselves, at least 2 of them are available for purchase this year. I think the Swiss Miss has been ground down and repackaged as hot cocoa packets, and we are none the wiser. Now listen, if you haven't yet, please like this video, subscribe to the channel, and leave a comment with what cereal we should look at together in a future episode. Until then, never be soggy, my friends. Bye-bye.